What's up, y'all? This is Josh from KeepItTechie, and today I want to show you guys a cool Linux distribution called Zorin OS. Okay, so Zorin OS is considered a well-optimized operating system targeting new users entering into the Linux space. And I thought this would be a good OS to introduce to you guys. And just another note, Zorin OS was built from the ground up with beginners in mind. And it specifically targets those transitioning from Windows and Mac OS. So you'll see when the system comes up how simple it is. And it should help with new users trying to get into Linux when they're coming from Windows and Mac OS. So this will be a good video for all you newbies out there. Just going on and check it out. I'm gonna walk through how to install the OS as well as a few of the features that are included within the system that you guys should check out. Okay, so let me go on and go to their website so you guys can see what Zorin OS is all about. Okay, so here is Zorin OS. The way you get to it is zorinos.com. And as you can see, this is their main website. So Zorin OS, your computer easier. It says Zorin OS is the alternative to Windows and Mac OS, designed to make your computer faster, more powerful, secure, and privacy respecting. So you can go down and download from here. This is the download button, but I want to go through and just read a little bit about the page. Here are some of the reviews from Forbes, CNET, Tech Radar, and PC World. And just go down a little bit. It says easy to use, a powerful desktop you already know how to use. Zorin OS is designed to be easy, so you don't need to learn anything to get started. The Zorin Appearance app lets you change the desktop to resemble the environment you're familiar with, whether it's Windows, Mac OS, or another Linux distro. So let's just scroll down a little bit. And a lot of this information down here applies to pretty much all Linux distributions, but they just put it in here just, to show what Zorin OS can do. But it says rock solid and reliable, built on Ubuntu and Linux Foundation. Zorin OS runs on the same open source software that powers the U.S. Department of Defense, NASA, and more, which is true. NASA and Department of Defense, they use Linux on a lot of systems. So, and then it says resistant to viruses thanks to Linux advanced security features. Zorin OS is resistant to viruses, and it's pretty much generally applies to all Linux distributions, as long as it's backed and maintained. It's generally resistant to viruses. And then security patches and software updates are available for years to come. And I believe this version of Zorin OS, the current version that they have out right now, it's built on top of Ubuntu 18.04, which is still supported for years to come. So let's go down. It says fast, speedy on computers old and new. Now, this is one thing I like about different distributions when they offer a light edition. And I've seen other distributions do this as well, where they have a very light distribution. A lot of times they use like XFCE or another lightweight desktop environment. And this will help with computers that are super old. You can, like it says, breathe new life into older computers. So if you have an old desktop around, you want to set it up for the kids or something, you could put Zorin OS on it, the light edition. And I'll go through the editions in a little bit. But it also includes with apps. It's included with apps and games. Let me read a little bit so you guys can see what it says. From a full Microsoft compatible Office suite to professional photo editing software, Zorin OS comes with powerful apps out of the box. Countless more apps and games are available from the software store and Steam. And yes, they pretty much use a lot of the GNOME desktop, especially for the software center or the software store. But I'll show you guys all that when we get the system up and running. And lastly, I wanted to show you guys this part where it says privacy. This is a good thing I always like to see on all Linux distributions, is the privacy aspect. And in this statement, they say, we believe privacy is fundamental human right. That's why Zorin OS doesn't collect personal data, so advertisements and governments can't spy on your activity. Because Zorin OS is an open source, anyone can view its source code to ensure its security. It also comes with a firewall, so you can stay safe from attempts to compromise your information. And this generally applies to all Linux distros, except for the firewall portion. You have to turn the firewall on other distributions if it's not active. But based on what they're saying, the firewall is active when you install it. But that's a good thing about Linux in general. It doesn't track any of your personal information, similar to Windows and Mac OS, because they have telemetry built into Microsoft Windows that sends information back to Microsoft. And then they also generate ads and all that type of stuff based on your accounts. So that's one reason I like to push people to Linux, because you have ownership of your personal data. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to worry about one of these big companies scanning your computer, sending back information on what you have on your system, and then sending you targeted ads based on that. So that's all I wanted to show you guys here on the main page. But this is how you download. You just simply go to download, and this will break out the 4 editions of Zorin. Now, Zorin is a little bit different from other Linux distributions. It has a Ultimate Edition, which is actually a paid edition of Zorin. So let me go down and show you guys that. So Zorin Ultimate, it says unleash your computer. It comes with business apps, media apps, Mac OS and Windows, and touch desktop layouts. Over 20 games included. Includes Ultimate Light Edition. So it has the Light Edition along with it. As you can see, it's only $40. So if you guys want to, check it out and purchase Zorin OS. And also, I'm not being sponsored by Zorin, so I'm not trying to, push you to purchase it. They do have the Core Edition though. The Core Edition is the one that I'm going to install today, so you guys can follow along. This is the free version. It comes with a lot of the same features, you know what I'm saying? It's just a few features that are not included in the core that are included in the Ultimate Edition. So you could try that. And then this is the Light Edition. And then they also have an Education Edition. But we're going to stick with the core version. And so what you want to do is just go to that core version, whichever version you want to download, and just hit download on that one. It's going to ask you for your email address. You don't have to put this in. You can hit skip to download. And this will go down and download the latest version of Zorin OS, which is 15. And I'm not going to download it because I already have it installed. So I'm going to hit cancel there. But let's go down and get to the installation of Zorin OS. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm not going to go through showing you guys how to set up Virtualbox. I'll be installing using Virtualbox, but I won't go through and show you guys how to set it up. I've done plenty of videos on Virtualbox, so you can check it out. But this is how I'll be installing Zorin, just to show you guys, walk you through the installation process. But I gave the virtual machine 2 processors as well as 4 gigs of memory. I also enabled 3D acceleration, as well as created a bridged adapter so the virtual machine will get its own IP address. So let's go down and start it up so we can get to the install process. Okay, cool. So it's booting up, and the first thing that'll pop up is the screen on where you want to go to it. So they have try or install Zorin OS, try or installing Zorin OS safe graphics. And then they have one for modern NVIDIA drivers. And then also you could check the installation media for defects. But I'm going to click on the first one. And that's basically to try and install Zorin OS. As you can see, it's very clean, the way they have this system built. And the installation process is very quick and and clean. It's simple to do for anybody that's new to Linux. Okay, cool. So it'll pop up with the install screen right away, but I'm gonna hit the try Zorin OS, and that way I can fix the screen so you guys can see everything better when I go through the installation process. So, okay, cool. So I have the desktop up and running. What it does is when you hit try, it'll boot up a live edition of Zorin OS, and then you can go through the installation process as well. One thing I wanted to do was make the screen a whole lot bigger so you guys can follow along or see what's going on, because when I click through the installation right away, it will keep the resolution of the screen very small, and it's kind of hard for you guys to see. So I'm hoping this is a whole lot better. But when you go into try OS, it'll have a install script pretty much right here. So that's what you want to click on once you're ready to install. But you can look at the OS from here. I'm not going to look at it. I just wanted to make the screen a whole lot bigger. So let's go down and start the installation. So like I said, it's a quick install. It's only a few questions that it's going to ask you. You know, this is English. You want to check your English. This is your keyboard layout. So if you have, you know, if you're using a different keyboard, then you want to change that here. And then right here, you want to do the updates, which I always try to do updates. It says download updates while installing Zorin. And then also install third-party software for graphics and Wi-Fi hardware and additional media formats. So I like to do that as well. So we can leave those two checked. And actually, before it goes away, but this is the census. It basically keeps a track of the number of users anonymously. So I tend to not send any information back to any of these companies. I like to, you know, maintain my privacy as much as I can, but it says it's anonymous, so you could choose to send it to them or not. It doesn't matter. It's just a way of them tracking how many people are actually using the OS or have installed the OS. But then here we go, installation type. This computer currently has no detected operating systems. Yeah, this is a fresh, you know, VM. It doesn't have anything on the hard drive. So what I'm gonna do is erase, which that's the default. It's gonna erase the drive and then install Zorin OS. And then you can go through and actually encrypt Zorin OS. You know, that's a good way, you know, of protecting your privacy as well. So whenever you're not logged into your system, you know, your stuff is encrypted. And then also you have LVM. You could put that on there, which is basically logical volumes. And then you can also go through and partition the drive yourself. I'm not going to go through that process. I'm going to just let it erase the drive and install. And it's basically going to create one big partition on the hard drive and then go through and install Zorin OS. And here we go. So it's going to write the changes to the disk. So let's just press continue there. Okay, cool. And the next thing is going to ask you, you know, your location. So you can set up the time zone. I'm in Los Angeles, or I'm on the West Coast, so Los Angeles is good for me. And then we can hit continue there. And it's going to ask you for your user account. So I'm going to create, you know, a user account for me. And then I'm going to name it ZOS. And then just go down and set a password for it. Cool. And then we can hit continue there. And then this is the install. So I'm going to go down and let this run, let you guys listen to a little music while this is going through, and I'll be back when it completes. Okay, cool. So the installation is complete, and you guys probably can't see it because of my picture over there, but basically what it says, installation is finished. Just restart. You can continue testing the OS from here, or you could just restart it, and which we're gonna restart it and just get into the operating system. Okay, cool. So we have the system up and running. Let's go down and log into it right fast. Let's type in our passwords. I'm gonna fix the screen to make it bigger so you guys can see. Okay, cool. So we had a resolution fixed. So let's go through and show you. I mean, as you can see, the desktop is very simple. You know what I'm saying? Kind of reminds me of Windows. You got your start menu right here. You have you know, your browser already here. You have your directory or your file, my computer, you know, type of folder here. And then this is the software center, kind of like Microsoft Store is, you know, there is similar to Windows 10. So if we hit the start menu, I just want to show you everything is kind of broken up or whatever, you know, and this is really a GNOME desktop. You know what I'm saying? They just have it, you know, modified to look more like Windows. But, you know, you can click on accessories. That'll go through and show you, you know, some of the applications that are installed here for that. They have games installed. They have a few games, 5 games. It's similar to, you know, when you install Windows, you know, it got Mine, Solitary, you know what I'm saying, Sudoku. And then also in graphics, it comes with LibreDraw as well as GIMP, which is one of my favorite, you know, photo editing software. So Shotwell, you know, you can take pictures, simple scan, that allow you to scan documents, and then document viewer. And like I stated earlier, it has LibreOffice installed, but let me go to the internet. It comes with Firefox web browser installed by default. You can obviously install other browsers if you want to. Then this is pretty much the Office suite. They have a calendar, and this is all GNOME stuff. So GNOME calendar, GNOME contacts, document viewer, evolution, that's part of GNOME as well. And then here is the LibreOffice suite pretty much installed. So everything is there for that. Sound videos, like I said, GNOME all day, because Rhythmbox is on there, GNOME videos, which that's what that application is. Cheese and Brazzaro, that's, has been on every GNOME installation, I've seen since like 16.04. So, and the next thing, you got your system tools. So this is all GNOME. They got the dist application, so you can look at the dist on the system, power statistics, input methods, software center, software updater, stored up applications. You can have applications stored up when you log into the system. Then Zorin appearance, and I'll show you that in a minute, but this is one that I want to kind of just highlight or whatever. This is a very cool application. I haven't hooked it up yet to my system because I don't have Zorin installed on physical hardware. It's only been installed in the Virtualbox, and so I haven't connected my phone to it. But that's interesting right there. So you guys want to check it out, you can connect your phone to it and you can send text messages and all that good stuff. And I might try to install some. And then also the Zorin appearance, you know what I'm saying? That's pretty cool. I'll get to that in a second, but I just wanted to show you everything in the menu options. Then here we go, utilities. So it comes with an archive manager by default. Then you got a backup software, disk usage analyzer, that's known for sure. Disk. Then you can go in and edit the fonts. They have an image viewer, that's the default image viewer. Password and keys, and system monitor, and then terminal. So that's pretty much all the applications that come on the system by default. But first thing, let me go down and click on the software center. This will open up software center, and right now they have a bunch of updates. I'm not gonna mess with those right now, but it's basically the software center. You can go through and install, pretty much anything you want that's in a repository, just like any other distribution. So, and then you can look at what applications are installed, and then the updates, which that's what it's giving me an alert on, is they have updates, and I'm pretty sure it's a whole bunch of updates for this system. But let's go to the utility and open up the terminal right fast, and go to terminal, and let's type uname -a, press enter. And as you can see, it's Linux, Zorin OS. It has 5.3, and you'll see right here, this is really what I wanted to show you, is 18.04 Ubuntu. So I just wanted you guys to see that it is built on top of Ubuntu. So all the commands, pretty much work as if, you were using Ubuntu, but you can type, sudo apt, that's the package manager. So sudo apt updates, and then you'll see that it's connecting to Ubuntu's repositories right there. And they also have like some PPAs installed. But anyway, apt, you can install and update just like on any other Linux distribution that is Ubuntu based or Debian based. So yeah, and as you can see, it's got 222 packages that can be upgraded. So we're not going to do that right now. But that's how you can update the system. You can obviously update it in Software Center like I was saying. But let's go into the system tools, and I wanted to kind of show you the Zorin appearance. So if we open that up, this is one of the cool features I like of Zorin. It has these different layouts. So this is kind of like a Windows layout, so to speak. And this kind of condenses everything, kind of like Windows 10 does. If you click here on the layout right here, this is another layout. And this one, you'll see it change, but it'll add the names to the actual icons and make the icons smaller. So that's another layout. But the start menu, it kind of stays the same. But if we click on this layout right here, this is similar to Ubuntu. And it also has like a Mac feel to it because it puts all the applications in the center, almost like a dock, but there still is that start menu right there. And you'll see a change. It's different. It's like in Ubuntu. This is the default from what it looks like in Ubuntu. So that'll get rid of that start menu look if you want to change that. And then also it'll put your icons right here in the center of the screen. But let's go on and switch it back to the default, because that's fine. But right here, I just wanted to walk through this. You can add icons to your desktop. Like this is the home, trash, mounted drive. So if you plug in a USB drive to the system, it'll pop up right here. Then they have the network server. That's how you access network resources. And we can leave it on, whatever. Then they have the title bar, as well as enabled animation. Now you kind of want to, if you install the core version, like on an older system, then you might want to turn off animation. So that's a good thing you want to look for. You can turn off the animation. That way it runs a little smoother, because if you have an older system and you're trying to run all that animation, that'll slow down your system. But anyway, let's go to the themes. They have a couple themes, you know what I'm saying? You got your accent colors. And let me open up the file directory so you guys can see some of this stuff change when I click through it. But you can change, to gray. They have different colors. You can go to red. And this is all the accent colors. So anything you open up, like in the start menu, in certain areas, it'll change the color. You see how when I clicked on something, it showed in red? Well, that's what that does. So I'm gonna turn it back to blue though. And then they have some background colors, or the color of the actual screen. So you could change it. This allows you to set a schedule. You can set it manually, or you can, do sunset into sunrise, which you would have to turn on location services in order for that to work. So just so you know, if you don't want to be tracked by anything, you have to turn that on in order for the sunset sunrise to work, because sunset changes based on daylight savings time and all that stuff, especially if you're in the US. So and then they have a dark kind of theme, so that's good for you guys that like the dark theme. So, and I'll just make it back light just for this demonstration. And these are other options you can actually modify. They have other built-in themes that you can click on, and application themes, icon packs installed, and shell themes if you want to change them. I'm not going to mess with them, but this will allow you to go to the fonts and change up the fonts. So they have application fonts, window tile fonts, monospace fonts, and the documents fonts. So you can change all that if you want to, just like any other distribution. And then panel, this is some panel information. You can change the way this panel down here works. So it's on the bottom. You can move it up to the top, if you want to. But bottom is the default, because they most people most likely will be coming from Windows 10 or something. So just putting it at the bottom, it gives that experience like you're still using Windows 10, even though it's Linux. So, and then you can change the height. I like to make mine smaller. You can make it bigger, smaller, all that stuff. And you can change the opacity. So if you have a different color background, it'll adjust the background of the panel to kind of match what you have installed or have changed the background as far as the background image. And they have a few other things you can turn on. You can turn on, battery percentage. You can show a desktop button. And that's if you click on that, it'll minimize everything and take you back to the desktop. And it's that activities button. You could turn that on as well. And I don't think I showed you that, but if you click on it, it'll show you the windows that you have open, as well as over here, it'll open that up. Then you can close that down, and then they have the auto hide, details. You can go in there, and then the clock, you can adjust the clock, so They have a lot of cool features, you know what I'm saying, for you to, mess around with, play with. Just check it out for yourself. But overall, this is a great distribution for beginners. I recommend it to anybody that's just getting into Linux, coming from Windows 10 or Mac OS. You know what I'm saying? It's a simple, basic OS that doesn't, require much in the terminal, really at all in the terminal. Most distributions nowadays, you don't even really need to, get into the terminal. You can make all the changes you want from the settings and different menus that are on the system. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm gonna continue doing videos just showing different Linux distributions that you guys might want to check out. You know what I'm saying? So I hope you guys have a good day and keep it techie. Peace.